Absolutely.
We have
I can
Aditi
still see the
now.
logo at the end.
And I got to ask the first question to Aditi. It's a very important question, Aditi. The Browns tweeted out yesterday their game day grind where you went behind the scenes with the camera and shot a lot of stuff. Are you trying to take my job?
Ooh.
Is that what you're trying to do now?
Not even remotely. It's just what Mike Tomlin says, right? The more you can do, the more valuable you can be. But I almost got run over, so that didn't go so well. And I couldn't actually hold the massive, huge lens. But I would say for a first effort, it wasn't so bad. Did you check out my gallery, Mikey?
Yeah, it's good. You can take Anthony's job.
What y'all don't realize is that
Anthony not trying to.
That's McDonald's money to Aditi. That's Happy Meal money. Like, she ain't worried about y'all little checks.
Yeah, I can't pay her what the Browns pay. That's
If only. And gee, right now I got a bone to pick with you because do you know what I am wearing? I am wearing jeans.
Nice.
And do you know how hard it was to get into a pair of jeans? And do you know how many squats I had to do to get these jeans? And this is only because you said I need to start wearing jeans. Why do I listen?
Now here's the thing. Can you have dinner, eat in those jeans, and then still be good afterwards? Because that's where I fall into.
Wait, I thought that was the point. I thought that putting the jeans on so tight limits what you are drinking or eating.
It very much does.
That button is not staying closed.
My jeans are a lot bigger than everybody
Careful
here.
with squats, though, Aditi. Aditi makes jeans tougher to wear.
Yeah.
I mean, you start
Wait,
getting those
squats make them tougher to wear? I thought that the squats loosened them up.
No, you build a muscle in the legs.
You build those leg muscles up, everything gets tight.
Get it?
That's not, but the leg muscles, I'm a former soccer player. I run. The legs are not where they are tight. Let's just say that.
Okay. So you have
See, listen, see how y'all going?
Down for the show. That's all I have to say. Thank goodness.
That is nice. Hey, you hearing anything at all about where this game's? I mean, I know they're talking about other sites if Buffalo gets the couple of feet of snow that we're anticipating, but we were saying that you better make a decision sooner than later because the equipment trucks, if they head for Buffalo, they could get stuck there. What is there a timetable? Is it indeed late Friday, as Dan Graziano said in this tweet?
I mean, I think that the league indicating that says that they believe that the trucks can get to wherever they need to get.
Right.
But obviously, this is a significant amount of travel, and there are people that I can tell you this. I know that the CBS crew doing the game is en route today, and it takes me back. I don't know if you remember this, but let me try. I think it was 2010. It was 2010, and the Giants were supposed to play the Vikings, and the Metrodome roof collapsed.
Oh, yeah.
Do you remember
that?
Yeah.
Yes, I do remember that.
And the Giants were rerouted. I think they hung out in a hangar in Kansas City for a while.
Right.
I know that I went to Cleveland, then had to come back to Newark, then from Newark went to Detroit on the day of the game. The game was played in Detroit on a Monday. It was sort of insane and crazy. I know that the NFL is sort of a little bit more forward thinking on that or a little bit more aggressive in what it will do. But obviously the desire is to not have Buffalo lose a game. And so I think that they're going to give it as long as they possibly can before they feel they have to pull that drop dead cord. If Dan says Friday, then that's what the league has told him, is that they have until Friday to make that decision. And look, here's the thing, though, Jay. One other thing. The snow isn't supposed to start until tonight, until Thursday night. So it's not like you can make the decision today, and then what if the snow doesn't show? We don't know how the weather gods operate.
We already know that Ashtabula here in Ohio has a foot, and they're closing I-90 to some commercial traffic.
They're closing the freeway in New York as of 3 or 4 o'clock.
Later this afternoon, right. I know we've heard Detroit as a possible option and some other things, but I brought up a little while ago, why not Syracuse? Syracuse is only 2 hours away. It would still be a home game for the Bills. Clearly, if you put this thing in Detroit, it's a home game for the Browns.
If the Browns can drive. Can they actually drive up there?
Well, here's the thing. We're not expected to get much this way. When you go to Cleveland West, it's not supposed to be bad at all. It's lake effect, so that mega band that stretches across Lake Erie, it's the far east portion of Lake Erie that's going to get dumped on. Syracuse they're not supposed to get much at all.
Not in that area.
No, so I just wonder, and Syracuse is playing at Wake Forest this weekend, so it's open. I'm just wondering why we haven't heard anything about Syracuse, because if I'm Buffalo, the last thing I want to do is play this game anywhere but Western New York. I definitely don't want it in Detroit. But I haven't heard anything.
Well, and especially, I mean, the Bills even haven't. The Bills, I think, have only had 4 home games so far, right? Wasn't this past weekend only their 4th home game? And
I'm not sure.
They obviously have one of the most rabid, best fan bases that there is.
They do.
I think that that's kind of a brilliant idea, Jay. I'm surprised that you haven't called Roger and suggested it to him.
I told
He's
him
on line
Nuggets,
1.
really?
We're on
I
hold
told
with his office
McNuggets
right now. Yeah, we're on hold.
No, I
with his
told
office.
McNuggets get Goodell on line 1. I mean, it solves everything.
I was texting Zach Jackson.
I mean, I
during the show.
have his super secret email address if you want me to send that to
Ship
you,
it off
Jay.
to him. Tell him Syracuse.
Are there costs involved with that? Is there something?
There would be, but we're talking about the NFL.
Is it more difficult to use a college stadium? Would it have to do with the locker room? I mean, it wouldn't have to do with the locker rooms, because if you think about it, college teams have way more players, so they have to be big enough.
Yeah,
to manage that.
I can't think of any obstacles. There may be things that I'm not thinking of, but the building is available. It's a dome. You'd still get, it would be a predominant Bills fan base still.
Sure.
Go ahead and ship that off to the bat phone. Call
Zach,
the bat phone.
I was texting Zach during the show. He said it would have to be a last resort. They don't want to play in a non-NFL facility.
And I understand that, but this kind of is last resort.
Well, yes, it is. But is it if Detroit's open? And
It's not if Detroit is open.
No,
exactly.
But if I'm the Bills, I'm saying,
open.
why are we going to go 5 hours west and only 2 hours from the team we're going to play when we can go 2 hours away and play it here? I know it's a last resort.
I don't know if the Bills will have any say, and I think the league's going to tell them where they're going to go. Like, this is the point I made earlier. If it's Robert Kraft or Jerry Jones, they're going to tell them where and when they're going to play the game. I don't know, Aditi, does the Pegula family have that type of juice with the NFL?
I don't know that it's about juice. I just don't know that the Pegulas are like that, And as we know, Kim Pegula right now, who really has been running the team, is dealing with some health issues. And I don't know that Terry Pegula is going to call the phone and stomp his foot and, get on the phone and stomp and scream.
The Bills
not
Mafia
that I'm trying
will.
to say that Jerry Jones and Bob Kraft would, but I think that there's still sort of this hope, this idea that it won't be as bad as the prognosticators are predicting. Although, Jay, I will tell you this, your weather report was really quite outstanding. Have you ever done that in your past?
I co-host a show with our chief meteorologist, so I pick up terms like mega band and lake effect.
Exactly. That's
upper
what
level,
it was, like the mega band.
They're calling
lake
this a
effect.
thundersnow.
Yeah, it is a thundersnow. These are the storms.
What is a thundersnow?
So
what is a thundersnow?
It's a radical system. It's a really big system, and it's all lake effect machine. But the band, because of the way the winds are coming and everything is right in line with Lake Erie, so it's going to pick up steam as it starts on Western Lake Erie or Eastern Lake Erie, Western Lake Erie, and moves east, which is
okay. So, but
towards
this
Buffalo.
begs another question, right? Because the Bills have approved this like mega $billion new stadium,
right?
Which will not have a roof, which of course I like the idea of elements potentially coming into play. And, like when Miami has to go to cold weather, or when a cold weather team in December has to go to really hot Miami. I mean, you see it in Miami, quite frankly. Two games I've seen, both Fox and CBS made a point of saying that the visiting sideline is significantly hotter in Miami than the home sideline, which is under shade. So
it was 100
every
degrees
team
Sunday.
tries to play with something.
Sure.
But if you've got this potential that the weather is so horrific that it causes you to lose a home game, then we have a mega $1 billion stadium. Can you do like a retractable roof?
Aditi, to that point,
does that make sense?
But to that point, you have Jacksonville, Tampa Bay, and Miami, and almost the entire football season falls during hurricane season. Hurricane season officially goes to December 1st, and almost all of their home games are in the eye of a potential hurricane, because that's when the tropics are churning. So, and we've seen a number of times, we've seen hurricanes disrupt games in all 3 of those cities. So I guess it's the chance you take, and you hope that it doesn't.
But this is what I'm
wipe it out
saying, is when you're
completely.
spending that much money then does it make sense to have some sort of, again, retractable roof or roof structure or some way that largely it could be kept open? But if you're all of a sudden expecting 6 feet of snow, close the roof until the snow comes, and then on game day you can open it up. And if it snows while the game is going on, great. Whatever.
It does add. I know it's going to be a big project anyhow, but it adds a significant price to the project to put a convertible top on it. So I'm sure. I mean,
yes, of course, but it's almost like we're talking about monopoly money at this point.
Oh yeah,
especially with the NFL.
I do think, when we talk about cost, when there's this much snow, it's not like this is Green Bay where like everybody in the neighborhood shows up with their shovel and shovels out 6 feet of snow and prepares the stadium. Which, by the way, is maybe one of my favorite things in the NFL.
Yeah, I
love it. People who live in Green Bay just come and shovel out the stadium. But I think snow games are. I don't know if this is irresponsible to say this because I don't know if they're more dangerous, and so I should be hesitant to say that. But there's an element that makes them fun.
Oh, I love it.
I think games that are played in, like where guys are throwing snowballs on the sideline, or you're constantly. I remember covering a game in Pittsburgh where they had to constantly clean out the lines, the down markers, and just so you could see where the yard lines were. I remember being in Buffalo in a snowstorm. I mean, I just. It's part of it, and it's kind of that idea of you have to win in any condition, whether it's 100 degrees or it's a monsoon or it's cold and snowy. It hardens you in some way. But I guess the issue here is, can you get there safely, right? More so than are these elements that you want to play in?
And where are they going to put 5 feet of snow that dumps inside the stadium? You have to clear the bowl, and you have to put it somewhere. Where are you going to? Where do you put all that snow?
Well, typically,
I don't know. I mean, I remember being in stadiums with, 10 feet high. I should have found you, Jason. Mike, you should have told me to pull up these pictures. I have photos of me in stadiums on 10, 12-foot high mountains of snow that they just shove up against the edge of the bowl, basically.
To me, that is football. To me, that gives you a badge of honor. You look at every other sport, you say, yeah, that's cute. Yeah. That's nice. But we do what we do, and get hit when there's 50 piles of snow everywhere. And I like the fact that I like the cold Super Bowl. To me, if you're going to play in these little regions where you're in California, and why would I give you a home and field advantage? I like to do cold Super Bowls. I like that. That's what football is.
You know what's so funny? So there are two that were supposed to be cold Super Bowls, Indianapolis and New York, and both of them had unseasonably warm weather for the week before the Super Bowl and the game. I mean, again, and this is why I think it's hard to, I think this is why, Jay, a decision hasn't yet been made. I don't know how much say either team really has, especially the Browns. Perhaps Buffalo does because it's their gate, it's their stadium. Yeah. But again, I think the Browns right now have enough challenges to be thinking about, have enough worries, have enough concerns that the weather, I mean, as much as Kevin Stefanski told us that the first thing he does when he wakes up is check the weather, I don't know that he's caring as much about the weather right now.
He's got bigger fish to fry.
Looking at their phones instead of listening to me.
I'm not.
I'm listening to every word you said. Stefanski gets up and looks at the weather. First thing he does is check the weather.
Aditi.
Like mother hen watching everything.
Aditi, my eyes are on the crisis, okay?
Oh, I was definitely in the chat. I was in the chat. They was talking about different things that I just had to jump in real quick.
I was hanging on to every word you said. Every word.
Really?
My phone's not even in my hand, so.
Is he throwing that water bottle? Jay, is Jason getting ready to throw that water bottle?
I'm going to throw mine right now.
I've never thrown a water bottle when you were talking, though.
I already threw it while Maurice was on, and I missed by 15 feet. It was like Giannis at the free throw line.
Yep, this one's going in.
And did he hear it?
You ready? This one's
going in.
No,
there was nothing to hear. It missed so badly, there was nothing to hear.
That
was in.
That was in.
That counts. Official judge, Jay.
And by the way, Didi, when you pulling back up, when you coming back to the studio?
Yeah.
She was in town and didn't come in.
When you coming back to the studio?
When was that?
For the Thursday night game, right? The Bengals? Or what? No, the Monday night. The Monday night game against the Bengals.
You know what? I didn't come in until just before the game because I had to fly in from my own game Monday morning.
What about when you shot the stuff for the Browns?
What about Tuesday? You could have come in Tuesday.
I could have, except that I'm away from my kids so much, it would be hard to have.
McNuggets,
I can't argue that.
let's try to get her on the schedule. Well, can we get her on the schedule for when the season over? She ain't got no excuse then. She just pull up.
Oh, yeah.
Because then
So when the season's over, for sure, I'll have more time, and I would love to do that.
and then
right
you're
now.
part of the show. We don't even got to be really nice. Like, you part of the show. We
Yeah.
just,
But do I have to wear jeans? Do I have to wear jeans?
Yes.
Does that
Yes.
mean, you're giving me 2 months to fit back into my jeans,
Yes,
right?
jeans game.
Okay.
You've got a 2-month runway.
Challenge has been issued.
and you can work out with me and Jay after the show is over.
Yeah, the gym's right next door to
The
our
gym is
studio.
right next door. You got to lift some weights.
I lift. I do planks. I squat. This morning I did a pretty intense, high intensity workout. But let me
Nice.
tell you, the jeans just are not quite as comfortable as they should be. There's a goal 2 months from now. Be able to sit in jeans for a 2-hour show.
Buy bigger jeans. That's what I do. Just buy bigger jeans.
So,
fine.
Aditi, before we let you go,
That's what my doctor told me. Jason, I went to my doctor. I was like, what is going on? Why isn't this weight getting off? And the first thing she said is, welcome to your age, which I won't say, but you all probably know this is what happens. And then I said, okay, but that's unacceptable to me. So what do I do? And that's exactly what she said. Buy bigger
Buy bigger
pants.
jeans. Yep. I got skinny
Problem
jeans from 20
solved.
years ago. I'll never fit in again, man. I just
but
gave
you
up.
don't throw them out just in
No,
case.
But I'll
they be
keep buying
looking
bigger
at 'em.
jeans.
I got a pair of money makers. Oh, they fit like leggings.
Hey, Aditi, before we let you go, I know this is really a tough game to handicap because we don't know. There's a lot we don't
Right.
know, but let's just assume they play it in Buffalo and there's a good deal of snow on the surface while they're playing it. Do the Browns have a chance here?
Yeah, because they can run the ball. I mean, I like that. And it's funny because I talked to Brandon Bean about this on Sunday. Actually, I was like, "Why don't you like to run?" And he's like, "What do you mean I don't like to run?" He's like, "Of course I'd like to run." But his point was essentially that if Josh Allen is your best player, then you don't really want to take the ball out of Josh Allen's hands. And in some ways, those little short passes, things like that, can count as almost the run game.
Right.
But the Bills do not have a dominant run game the way that the Browns do. I mean, why couldn't you just hand the ball off to Nick Chubb and Kareem Hunt 40 times if you needed to?
From
And
your
don't
lips
worry
to
about
God's
receivers
ears.
running routes or doing whatever. I mean, I trust him with the ball. And again, sometimes I think a lot of it also does have to do with which defense we see, who's showing up. Is it the one that's communicating well and fiery and Myles Garrett wants to be named with the top 3 defensive players in the league? Or is it the one that, can't figure out how to communicate with each other 11 weeks into the season? So, and especially I think if you're playing a team that isn't necessarily going to run the ball 30 times a game and you do have to defend the pass even in crazy conditions. And let's not forget that in bad weather, the receiver always has an advantage over the corner because the receiver knows where he's going and the corner doesn't know where he's going.
So all of that said,
Yeah,
then
sorry
you're picking the Browns or the Bills?
Look at her looking at her phone. Jeez.
Well, somebody's
paying
calling me from Dayton, Ohio. Who would be calling me from Dayton, Ohio?
Commissioner Goodell on his secret line.
He funnels it through Dave.
Should I pick it up just in case?
Yeah,
Like,
pick it up.
Katie, what do
Pick
you
it
mean
up.
you're about to give out my email address?
Go ahead and answer. We got nothing to do.
I can't pick. I can't.
You can't
The Browns
pick.
are so due. I mean, the Browns are so due, but my son loves the Bills, and my son would be devastated if I ever picked against the Bills.
Nice cop out. So Aditi's going with the Bills.
Bull has one question.
I
though.
should
Bull,
show you what he just drew. His Bills rule. Maybe I could call it up on my phone, actually. I mean, the
Bull, you
kid
have
is
one final
just...
question.
Okay, go
Aditi,
ahead.
how you doing, my friend?
I'm great. How are
Wow,
you?
they have matching shirts.
Look at that.
Oh, look
Yeah.
at that.
Can you see that?
Yeah.
It looks
yeah.
just like Josh Allen.
Wow, that's
Yeah.
great.
I can't tell the difference.
That looks
I
like
don't know who the dude is, but he just drew
Let me
that.
say
Anyway.
that I'm sorry you've had to put up with this nonsense propaganda from J and G, who try to claim that the Browns are not a running team. So I'm going to ask you. I'm going to ask you
just for that.
I'm going to ask you a trivia question, Aditi. Which team has the most running back carries per game this year? In the NFL?
The Cleveland Browns.
They should.
That is correct.
They should. They have the best running offense.
As should they.
Look, if Brandon Bean is unapologetic at how little he runs the ball, I think the Browns should be unapologetic about how little they throw the ball. If that's
Well, they
the
don't throw
formula
it that little, but
They are
I actually
unapologetic.
think they're smartly balanced. But anyway, these
They
guys
are
are a bunch of
unapologetic
liars.
about how much they throw it.
It would be smart if there were more W's to show.
Ah.
Yes.
There
Really
you
More
go.
V's.
There you
Trees,
go.
That's
Great
true.
retort.
Can't complain about that.
Take the dub.
Thanks,
right.
Aditi.
Aditi, have a
Bye,
great
Aditi.
All right, guys. Bye.
Thank
Thank
you.
you.
Bye.